Welcome to the first annual Letters Page Live podcast recording here at Gen Con 2017. Sorry, I'm going to start over.
Yes, try that again, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to start over. Welcome to the Letters Page, a podcast where we talk about some questions from Sentinel Comics.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Christopher.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm tired and I'm on a lot of adrenaline now.
Yeah.
But I've got this drink, this energy drink that's like
is it like a
energy drink.
Creature brand
energy.
energy drink. That's good. I am so Anthony, can you just come and be on all of our podcasts?
I would love
our
nothing
word
more.
proxy guy.
Anytime that you're in St. Louis, you can
Just-
come in and just be color.
Just sarcastic quips.
Yeah. For those of you listening on the air and to the recorded version, who's not one of the thousands of people in this room right now. See?
Tens of thousands, maybe.
Yeah, right. Well, it's hard to count.
As far as the eye can see.
It's hard to count. Yes. Good. We on a third microphone today have my brother Anthony Bedell. Round of applause for Anthony.
Yep. Yes. I have to say my greatest accomplishment has been being born after Christopher. That's pretty much it.
And keep it that way.
That's all I have to show for it.
You came into the world at its peak.
So, and for those of you in the room, this is my brother Anthony. He sings the Christopher and Adam Reading Letters to You song. That's the name of the song?
Yeah, sure. It is now, yeah.
Yeah, and also does a lot of other things. He's a phenomenal musician, but we're just using him for lulz, so we're squandering what we have. I'm Christopher, you're Adam, we already did that part.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit of the structure of what we're going to do.
Well, I want to talk about the people in the room first, and then do that thing.
Okay.
Because we also have Trevor over here. Yeah, absolutely. You guys have heard Trevor's sultry tones at the end of each episode as he explains some like boilerplate stuff. And without Trevor is more important to I said this in the State of Greater Than Games panel yesterday. Trevor is more important to the Letters Page podcast than either one of us.
Yeah, he's pretty much the only reason it has happened.
Yeah. We wanted to do a podcast, but Trevor actually made a podcast. And last but not least, before we get into the business of the day, back in the back of the room, standing there in a white shirt, we have Paul. Paul is our business partner. Paul and Adam and I were the ones that started Greater Than Games. And again, similar to Trevor, but sorry, no offense, but even more importantly, none of this would happen without Paul. Sure, we made a game, but Paul is the one that made Greater Than Games. And so, CEO of Greater Than Games, Paul Bender. All right, so we're here to read letters to you or something. We're gonna answer your questions. Some of the people have asked, what's the format of this episode? What's this episode about? We don't have a specific character. We're not gonna do the normal giant overview and then the whole questions. We're just gonna go right to questions because there's a lot of you, and I imagine you have some questions. And if you don't, that's okay. We printed a bunch out.
Brought some that you've previously asked.
Right, and we are definitely going to be hitting some of these questions, but also your questions. So get ready for that. But first, some ground rules. We have 3 rules that we want to talk about for first and foremost. The first one is that we don't have any favorite heroes or villains, so stop asking us. It is one of the number one questions, who's your favorite hero? Who's your favorite villain? Who's your favorite hero from the core set? Who's your favorite villain with hair?
We love them all. That's it.
They are all our babies. Stop asking us to pick between our children. I'm going to switch 2 and 3.
Switch. Okay, sure.
Here we go. Number 2 is let's, as much as we can, avoid talking about other properties, about characters from comic books or movies or TV or whatever that aren't Sentinel Comics. Because, we all like those things. I'm not saying, those things are forbidden. What I'm saying is, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in the world of Sentinel Comics, and I kind of want to get through as much of it as possible. So let's try to keep it in-house as much as possible. If you've got a question this really relates to some reason, or if you're being really clever, you might be able to justify it.
You gotta be real clever.
We had that one that we read on the air because they changed the names of all of the things.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, for the most part, let's keep it in-house. And then number 3, I'm not going to do this one the way I did it in prep.
That's for the best.
Yeah, right. No swearing do your best. Just try to avoid the swing.
Try and keep it PG.
Yeah.
This one hurts us more than it hurts you.
Yes, it does.
This rules for Christopher. So those are the ground rules. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
How's everybody's Gen Con going?
Oh yeah, good call. Awesome. I'm so glad to be doing this. I see hands raised for questions already, but I'm. Oh, okay, sure. We'll be doing questions in a slightly different way because I want to make sure that all the questions make it on the air. But since this is a quick ground rule question, let's do it.
Can we ask about stuff that hasn't been covered, like characters that haven't been covered?
Characters that haven't been covered yet. Absolutely, you can ask about anything from the world of Sentinel Comics, but here's the deal. There's a really good chance that we're going to say that's going to come up in the blank episode. But you might ask, because we might say, there was somebody who asked us a question that we were like, that's never going to come up in an episode, so I'm being shot at with a machine gun. I hope that sound comes through in the episode. It almost certainly won't. Trevor's going to try. Trevor's going to put a machine gun in it. And then people are like, wow, Christopher's reaction was really underwhelming considering the sound.
Also, so we're gonna do the best we can, but we're jumping without a parachute here. Also,
oh, that's an important thing. Here. Normally, when we do movie podcast magic, we talk for 2 hours just off the top of our head, no big deal. We spend about as much time in prep before an episode as the length of the episode,
if not more.
Just like looking over every art, being like, okay, let's get everything, because like we created all these things. They're definitely from our heads, and they're mostly in our heads. But we're like, okay, we want to make sure we don't miss anything, and we want to make sure that we're answering everything as accurately as possible, because we've made a couple characters over the last few years, and sometimes, like, look, man, I'm not as young as I used to be.
It's a lot to keep straight.
Yeah. So we might go, okay, hold on, this is pretty much where we think we're going here, but we'll verify it, and that is what we have the interlude.
The follow-up, yeah.
Right, so this episode is going to get posted at the end of the month, on the last Tuesday of the month, I think, and then there'll be an interlude the Thursday after that, in which we'll go, okay, so in that episode, we just everything we said was wrong. We lied to all those people.
Yeah, so
we'll give you
the best answers that we are capable of doing.
Yeah.
And then if we're at all wrong, then we'll fix that in the interlude that comes right after.
Right. Okay, so I think that's everything.
Yeah.
And so that's the overview. We did the overview.
Good overview.
And so now we need to transition to the questions section.
But how do we transition?
So Trevor's going to hit the button, and it'll play the song.
Okay.
The transition song. Yeah.
Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Christopher and Adam, yeah, singing along, yeah. Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Let them read 'em at you. Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Christopher and Adam. Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Let them read 'em at you. All right, I need you guys to keep that going. Keep that little Christopher and Adam part going. I'm going to sing a little verse for you here. Well, I grew up getting slapped in the face with a foam sword. And I grew up playing games that you had never played before. Christopher and Adam, Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Christopher and Adam, Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Let them read 'em at you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Woo-hoo. Man, you guys know it better than I did. I had to listen to it earlier to remind myself.
I'm really impressed.
So Anthony's deal Anthony was like, okay, look, I'm willing to come on your podcast and play the guitar and sing the thing, because he wrote this theme song. Let me back up. He wrote this theme song to make fun of us.
Fact.
True.
Fact.
Like, we've known each other for getting close to 25 years now, and Anthony's known us for that whole time, turns out. It works out that way. And so I was like, oh, we're doing this podcast. He's like, oh, I could do like a theme song thing. And we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, write us a legit
That's
theme
going to be
song,
awesome.
please.
You're
Yeah.
really good at writing music, and you're going to come up with something cool. And so we heard it, and we're like, we love this. We love it
It
so
was
much.
literally the first thing that came into my mind.
I think you spent like 13 minutes on it?
Seconds, yes. However long the song is, that's how long it took to write.
And so Anthony's deal was, yeah, I could come do the Letters Page Live thing, but Christopher, you have to play the melodica.
I don't know if you know this, Christopher is an accomplished pianist. So,
That's true.
fun facts. See, he knows a minor triad. There you go.
You just have experienced 100% of his talent.
These keys are so tiny. Anyway, so I was like, sure, fine. I'll play the thing. You bring the thing. I'll play the dorky thing. So I was like, okay, great. And earlier we gave it like one quick take in the hotel room just to make sure. What I did not count on was dozens of voices.
That was cool. That was awesome. Yeah.
I have to blow through this thing to play this, and you guys are so funny. Oh my god. Oh, so anyway, Adam, I've got a question here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who's it from?
This is a question from Trey.
Okay.
Trey writes, Dear Christopher and Adam, I have a question about the universe that the Sentinels of the Multiverse comics are in. You keep talking about the writers and how they would sometimes change comics dependent on what the readers enjoyed. The words writers and readers were in quotation marks.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, there's mention of the timeline in which the comics themselves came out, such as Legacy and Black Fist were much earlier than the rest of the other comics. So I want to know, are there two separate universes, both created by Greater Than Games? The one where the comics exist and the multiverse where the heroes exist? Or are they one and the same? Thanks for all the great info. And P.S., does Guys' fourth wall extend only into the separate comics universe or all the way into ours?
Okay. Yeah. So for those of you listening, Guys is sitting in the room with us, actually.
Yeah, he's over there.
And this isn't radio magic. He's actually here.
Yeah. So I'm not going to answer this question right away because I think that you have a question for me as well.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, it's all the way down there.
Oh.
All the way.
Okay. This one's from Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden writes, Hey, Adam and Chris. This is...
Bite your tongue.
This has been bugging me for a while now, and it probably stems from my curiosity more than anything. You guys do such a remarkable job of talking about these comics in such a descriptive way that I almost feel like a viewer of these podcasts instead of a listener. My question is, when you guys are referencing issue numbers and previous writers, what's going on there? Like in the Mr. Fixer episode, you mentioned the writers from the 70s doing similar things to other comics that they're doing with Black Fist. Is that you guys or others? Are you adding to the experience for us, or are there older minds to Sentinels than just you guys?
So this kind of goes back to a thing that we've mentioned a couple of times. So the reason that we did two questions before doing any answers is because they go together.
Yeah,
and
they're
these
a pair.
These questions go back to things that we've discussed in the podcast many times, or at least a few times. I don't have a good recollection of how many times.
Several.
In which this podcast is a series of lies built upon a house of lies, on a foundation of lies, in Litopia, on the continent of lies. And then they all died, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, no, like there are not older minds of Sentinels. We made everything. When you
made
hear
up
about
everything, we made up all the fictional creators outside of.
It's like it's all made up.
And to answer the first question, it is two distinct, separate universes.
Yes.
One in which the comics are published, and one that happens within the comics.
Right. So that is the. We didn't just make.
It's a needless layer.
Yeah. No,
It really is.
And yet here we are. Because we have to talk about the way that Sentinel Comics, the publishing company Sentinel Comics, was impacted by what was going on in the world around it, which is extremely similar to our world, just with Sentinel Comics being like the primary comic publishing company for that world. And so it was impacted by the world around it, but it also had impact on the world around it. So
That world was a utopia.
nope. But like as a result, so this is a thing that we messed up, but as a result had impact in the world, that we definitely named Tachyon and had her first appearance before Tachyons were theoretically like invented / discovered. Meaning that the scientist who came up with the name Tachyon named it after a speedster from the world of Sentinel Comics.
Yeah, lots of scientists are comic fans.
Right,
so
no,
that's-
scientists like comic books.
Yeah.
I mean, right, so yeah, no, it's...
Yeah, but that's something that we did for authenticity, really.
Yeah.
And we just wanted, when we created the in-comics world, we wanted it to feel real. We wanted it to feel like you would buy comics of these. So
Right.
creating the outside world was just part of it. So.
Right. Cool. So that... I think that covers that. Oh, no.
Matthews.
We, Guys' fourth wall. Well, I guess I think we kind of covered that given...
given that he's
Guys
here.
is in this room, so...
There are no walls that Guys does not break. He has broken all walls.
I don't want to lean too hard on the cannon for that because... Yeah, sure, good. Guys episode. Anyway, so... With that said, we've got about a dozen questions that we brought with us from the letters page, but just like a quick show of hands, do any of you have questions that you want to ask us today? Cool, right, good.
Yeah, nice set of you.
So what I want to do is I want to take some questions, see where we are with time, then maybe go into some of these. If we don't get to any of these, then we'll do these all in the interlude.
Yep.
That comes afterwards. But we wanted to make sure, because maybe you guys are going to be timid. Maybe only like 10 people were going to show up. I genuinely... You make that sound.
We didn't know how this was going to go. So.
I still don't really believe the listenership numbers we're getting. I believe, I don't know, did you check today, Trevor? Yeah, me neither. Listen, it's busy, it's Gen Con. We were on track, we were on track to yesterday, if the trends were going the way they were, without even accelerating, we were on track yesterday for the Legacy episode to have passed 10,000 downloads of that episode alone. So that should be the case now, and we were going to check, but like, look, it's Gen Con. We had things going on. But anyway, so the way
we're going to do it, we want to get some of your questions right now.
Right, but before we do that, we have to go into another letters section.
Oh.
Because we did
right,
these
yeah,
letters.
we do.
So now we're going into
we need
a
another
new letter
break.
section because now we're going to your live letters. But I mean, I guess it's transition time again. Do you have another song? I have no idea how this is going to go.
I don't know what song this is.
Okay, cool.
Christopher and Adam, ja. Gonna read some letters, ja. So let him read a match, ja. Is everyone else rhymes with ja?
Perfect. When we were doing, yeah, by all means. When we were doing prep for this episode, when we were doing setup here, he just kept doing weird, different versions. This was not a planned thing, and we're like, okay, we're making that part of the thing because I want to hear more versions.
And now
of
the
this.
pressure's on, so thanks.
Yeah. Look, there's pressure up here, okay?
Enough pressure to go around.
What we're going to do is, have any of you been to a PAX before? Great, cool.
Couple
Right.
of them,
So the way that they do panels at PAX is fantastic, where you have a microphone on a stand right here in the middle of the aisle, and people walk up and they give the microphone in a stand and they go off. And that way we don't have to like pass the microphone around. So you're gonna queue up all orderly, like if you have questions, you're gonna get in a line, and the first one in your line is gonna take the microphone from here, and you're gonna be good to go. You're gonna ask one question, maybe a quick follow-up if it's pertinent, and then you're gonna pass it to the next person. If you've got another question, fine, get back in line. But one question at a time. I know how some of you people are. I don't want some power hound question situation here. So, yeah, this is good. So anyway, so Michael, the microphone is yours. So grab the microphone.
Say your name
Go on back
and-
up and do it like you're a letter page. So say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and then begin your letter.
Hello, Christopher and Adam.
Hi.
So it's not gonna. So
It's not gonna
probably is on.
broadcast,
Trevor
but-
needs to be the one checking the sound. So Trevor's gonna check the levels,
Thanks, Trevor.
and you're not gonna hear it. the microphone's not for you. It's not for you either. It's for all of you out there in Radio Land. Okay, cool. So,
Hi, Christopher and Adam. This is Michael Epstein, Copper Frog Games. I was wondering, after the Ra episode, where you revealed that the Egyptian gods are not quite exactly gods.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What is the nature of divinity in the Sentinel Comics universe?
Okay.
all right. So
So you wanted to start off with a softball, huh?
okay. So you're going on to say, does Fanatic's power actually come from God? That's for the Fanatic episode. And in fact, I'm not going to talk about Fanatic at all right now because Fanatic is not a god.
Okay.
She's an angel.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about that in the Fanatic episode. That's a big one and it's coming up very soon. With the nature of divinity, so like there's the Egyptian gods, but they're not gods. They're just people with a ton of power.
Right.
And they
There
kinda,
are definitely cosmic entities with godlike
because
power.
we've got Oblivion,
Right.
Which like, and there's other things
There's
like Oblivion.
several others that you'll see in
whatever
Oblivion.
Faultless used to be.
Yeah.
Like there's like that kind of gets to the question of what is divinity, especially in a world with so much power. And I'm not going to do that.
Capable.
That's
So I want to refer you to your local college's theology course.
So
there's a blog called the Philosophy Bros. Anybody familiar with this blog? Okay, a couple people. Cool. And he wrote, the guy who does that wrote a book called, it's like Descartes Bro. Do you know the name? Remember the name of this book? It's like Descartes Bro, or like What's Up with Descartes or something like that. It's a really good book, and it's a very good book about philosophy and talking about it both in a bro-y way, but also in a totally gettable way. And so, like, check that out.
All right. So just as a very brief follow-up.
Sure.
If Oblivion
Yeah.
is near godlike power, is there something of equal power opposing him?
Opposing, no, but there are things of Oblivion levels power, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'll just leave that hanging. Yeah. So pass the microphone on to Spite, because that's a totally creepy thing to do.
Starting off with the easy questions.
Okay, go ahead and turn around, Spite. So go ahead and quick turn around before you take your mask off and do the gross thing with the eyes. Like, he can just turn those on and off at will. Yeah, so, okay. A face.
There's a face underneath.
Hi, my name's Leo Melanson, aka Level Up Leo. Although today I think I'm going by the name Jack Donovan, aka Drugged Up Donovan.
Yeah, okay. No, hey, that's good, actually. I like that, yeah.
My question is about the mini nemesis.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I believe, in the Chrono Ranger episode that there were some switches during the Vengeance event, like the Naturalist taking on Doc Tusser.
Sure.
What are some other notable enemy switches that happened during the Vengeance event?
So
I mean, like
when we see Arjun Adept fight Revenant.
Right, and also we talk about the fact that
Your motion tells me nothing. That's still no. I'm Crab Man. New hero confirmed. Crab Man.
I can just do charades.
Hippo? Callisto? Equity?
I don't remember the name of our stupid character that I want to call Ruin, but that's not his name. The demon character that came from the Void that was going to fight Arjunata.
That is Ruin.
It's Ruin?
That's right. You're right. Yes.
Okay, I was like, that's Ruin. I'm like, his name is Ruin. No, that's not it. I need to remember his name.
That's right. You got it.
Oh God, guys, I'm really sorry. This is. So
when you
Ruin-
say
yeah,
guys, do you mean the guys in the room or
Yes. Yeah, you guys. I'm really sorry. So Ruin ends up fighting the wrong nemesis, and like there's things like that happen. The Seer, which we haven't talked about yet, but the Seer is coming up in Fanatic podcast.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I guess those are probably the notable ones.
Yeah. I think that by the nature of the crossover, though, there's not the minor fights aren't super notable. Like
Right.
they happen. There's a lot of them that happen in a very short amount of time. So none of them are the big fights.
Right, and you see lots of heroes fighting villains, and it's a lot of team versus team situations because that's the whole vengeance event.
Yeah.
And so it'll be teams of many nemesis, and so lots of many nemesis, and they will be fighting the wrong heroes, but they're allied with the right heroes. So yeah, I hope that helps.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Christopher and Adam. This is Russ Luzeski. I had a question for Adam, actually.
Oh, okay.
Is there a piece of currently published art that in Sentinels that has a story you haven't been able to tell that you want to tell?
Oh, geez. Currently published? No, that's not going to... Like, anything that I haven't told is going to be in an episode. So, I've told all of the ones that I want to that you've seen.
That's an answer.
Yeah,
Or,
no, yeah.
like, if that,
I mean, other than the stuff that's going to be in episodes,
Yeah.
like we're trying to be pretty complete. There might be things that like they're shown in art where it's like, okay, well these two people fought, but there's not a story there other than punching.
Right.
So yeah.
yeah.
Hi, this is Citizen Cool Pain. That is my last name. So,
Okay. Right.
I have a question, and you may not be able to answer it. Does Idealist ever get her memory back? Perhaps on the in-cap side of her Vanguard card?
That is an episode question.
Fair enough. Then I have a follow-up.
Okay.
Did someone on the editorial staff of the comic just hate psychics because all of the psychic characters have horrible childhood trauma?
Right. So, yeah. I mean, part of that is that psychic characters are extremely powerful, and actually in the world of Sentinel comics, very rare. Like, there's not a lot of them. Yeah. So psychic characters tend to be like, these are major characters, they need major downsides, and we use them sparingly. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jillian Wexler. I have a question about Bluego.
Bluego. So for those of you listening in Radioland, Jillian.
Yes.
Jillian here. Her face is very green right now, and it's because earlier today at the costume contest she had a phenomenal Bluego outfit with like the nose and forehead
The
horns
trunk,
and
the blanket on
she
the
was
back
wearing
and
like
everything,
30
yeah.
pounds of fur, and that she dyed herself.
I'm surprised that she did not dye herself.
Right.
Because there's so much fur.
It's so much fur, and so it's a miracle to see you standing before us, and it's appropriate that you be asking about Bluego. So carry on.
Okay, so I was wondering if all ape hands before Bluego died, before the rest of them died, if they communicated by saying their name? Just their name?
So they actually communicate psychically.
Oh, okay. Is that how they communicate
and
with like
then they die.
other people?
So like once again, like we have psychic characters, so we do awful things to them. Right. Yeah. And that's how Bluego's able to like Bluego's just like Bluego, but like also there's stuff going on there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. To kind of reinforce that also a little bit, like to backtrack a little bit, but bring it in here. Thematically, psychic powers are a very invasive and weird thing, and so they kind of just match well with trauma.
Yeah.
And so like that informs the storytelling a whole lot
for both Bluego and the rest of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Good questions. Yeah.
Hello, Christopher and Adam. I'm Kyle. I guess I'll go by Citizen Overweight.
Are you guys all doing citizen things? Is this a thing?
Dude, we're rising.
Okay, well, Citizen Don is here. That's true. All right, carry on.
All right, my question is, if Mordengrad is in Lithuania,
yes,
why is the anthem translated from Latvian?
Because the native tongue of Mordengrad is is kind of it's like the language they speak in Brazil, where it's like, oh, it's Portuguese, but it's really like Brasiliano, that it comes from a combination of Lithuanian and Latvian for ancient Ramanat family reasons. So
very well.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, Christopher and Adam. My name is Eli. My question is, does Dawn have an apartment complex somewhere on Insula Primalis? Because where did the citizens live?
Yeah, absolutely. She has the fortress, the Citadel of the Sun, in which there is definitely like rooms to stay, but also
it's more like a bunker.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Really, not a bunker, not
a
like
not
it's
a
not
guy
a big
in a suit.
suit.
Yeah, the people live in there. And it's like,
right, but it's more like military quarters.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Yes.
I'm Jason Tang, also possibly half of the duo Tang.
Yeah.
My wife is Citizen Don today. And on behalf...
Not just today.
True, and a few years ago as well. Yeah. But on that regard, I have a question regarding power levels of things. Since I'm dressed as the Argent in particular, I was curious. You mentioned void power being one of the most ridiculous, powerful versions of power sources that there are. Mm-hmm. How does that compare on level with Citizen Dawn, who is otherwise one of your mentioned most powerful villains.
So void power is strange because like you can't just tap into the void. You've got to have like some innate connection, and also so virtuosos of the void, as we talked about in the Argent Adept episode, like have to do a lot of stuff to pull that off. But there are other things that can interact with void power. That said, it's not easy, and you're not able to pull a lot of it. Pulling a lot of it is very straining, is very stressful.
And also, for the most part, it's unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that virtuosos can manage it because they have their special abilities, but if someone else managed to find a way to get it out of there, it's not going to have tangible, predictable results.
So yes, someone with void power, someone who is able to harness or void power in some way, could significantly be more powerful than Citizen Dawn, or significantly less powerful than Citizen Dawn. The difference is that Citizen Dawn has a lot of power, and we've actually gotten a few questions in the last few episodes about, wait a minute, compare this person's power to Citizen Dawn, because it seems like she's really powerful, but what about them? Yes, she is very powerful. There are definitely things that are more powerful than Citizen Dawn, but there are a few things with more mastery over their power.
Like more consistency?
Yeah.
With both consistency, with knowledge of what they can do, intentionality of how they use it, and raw ambition. Like Citizen Dawn.
She's very capable and driven and spends a lot of her time making sure she knows what she can do.
I would be afraid of the Citizen the Sun flag is hoisting in the background. I would be afraid of Citizen Dawn without superpowers.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Christopher and Adam. I am writing you about the Nexus of the Void. So, the Nexus.
Nice to meet you. Writing you about the Nexus of the Void.
Oh, my name, I guess, is Gabe.
Oh yeah.
And I'm the citizen of the Nexus of
cool.
the Void.
Sure.
So my question is: so in the Akash Buddha episode, you talk about the Nexus of the Void being originally protected by all these spirits.
Yes.
And I have, in the past few weeks, admittedly been playing a lot less Sentinels of the Multiverse and playing copious amounts of Spirit Island. Is there any way that those spirits of the Spirit Island are protecting the Nexus of the Void in a different reality or in Sentinel's reality?
Yes.
I will take my question off the air.
The Nexus of the Void is the island known as Spirit Island. Wait till you see the Oblivion deck for the Nexus of the Void.
Oh yeah.
But it straight up is.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. We were when we were doing the Spirit Island Kickstarter, we're like, man, we could get a lot of attention here by saying, look, this thing straight up connects to the mythos of Sentinels and all this thing, but we really wanted Spirit Island to succeed on its own because we believed in that game, and the Kickstarter did okay. Like it didn't do it overfunded, but it didn't like knock it out of the bar. It didn't do as well as the game is now doing. Now that people are playing it and going, oh, what is this?
I'm comfortable confirming that now that it has proved itself successful. So
I almost okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, follow up.
Yeah.
Is there any way we'll see Akash Buddha or its original spirit in the game?
Next question, please. So what I was going to say is, what makes you think you already haven't? But that's a red herring because you definitely haven't.
Christopher and Adam, I am Ansel G. Moreau, world famous movie star. I do my own stunts. You may not have known that. I know that due to the wound on my face, I am back to being the roguishly handsome ambuscade in the Tactics timeline.
Right.
However, in the what do you call it, RPG timeline, do I return to villainy or justice? And movies. I do my own stunts, you know.
Oh, that's good to know. That'll be useful for when we have some stunts here.
We can't really answer that.
That is a really good question with a really exciting answer.
That's coming up in the Stuntman,
which is
Ambuscade episode, which is very soon.
Like 4 weeks away.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's not far. You don't have to wait long.
So yeah. So sorry for the non-answer, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
That last question set a very high benchmark to clear.
I quit.
Hi there, Adam and Christopher. Christopher and Adam. Okay, so in the knife episode, you'd mentioned that, and I might not be correct in recalling this, that the knife we know is not this universe's Paige Huntley, and that you're glad that no one had asked you about this timeline's Paige Huntley. So now, if and this might have been covered in a future episode, and if so, you could filter this question out. But what is the deal with this? I'm going to get blocked. So yeah, what is the deal with this universe's Paige Huntley?
Okay, so she doesn't do anything notable during the multiverse timeline.
No.
She, as a result, she's free to show up later.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, that's not a thing that we are willing to talk about in the letters page until a couple of notable products come out in the future.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously we do spoiler sections about things, but in general when we do spoiler sections, there's spoiler sections about, like, hey, here's a thing that's, like, imminently coming out, and like, we want you to know about it and be excited about it, but you can also choose to, earmuffs if you want. Some things need to stay a bit...
Some things, must remain secret.
A little bit undercover.
Yeah. And that's a little bit further out.
Yeah.
So...
Lots of good questions here. Yeah. Sorry for non-answers, but good. You're asking the right stuff. So, yeah.
Hello, Christopher and Adam. I'm Laura Forbes, and at the risk of being the weird name questions girl, I have a question about Tantrum.
Sure.
In the Nemesis episode, you mentioned that she hates being treated like a little kid, but her name is not a name that you give yourself if you don't want to be treated like a little kid.
She didn't name herself.
That was my question. Who named Tantrum?
So Tantrum's name is not a name that is ever used. I can't talk about that. Tantrum's name is not a name that is ever used in the pages of Sentinel Comics as, like, the villain Tantrum. Tantrum. Like, rather, the people make fun of her for throwing tantrums, and it is an insult that's thrown her way. So it's kind of like the Fanatic thing, except that there's never an embrace or an adoption of that. So like, Tantrum is the thing that, like, fans call her and people refer to, that's Tantrum, but it's not like a thing. Heroes don't go, the villain Tantrum, or the other villains are like, Tantrum, what's up? Did you get that new text message machine? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how villains talk. Text message machines.
Text message machines.
I'm really old. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so that is the story there.
Hey, Christopher and Adam. My name's Cameron, and I was wondering, since we do have the Citizen Dawn and some of the other citizens in the room, how do they do recruitment? Like, if you will you be able to send them a letter? Are they all forcibly taken? We know citizens Anvil and Hammer.
You can do it that way. I like that. Hanvil and Hammer. Oh, is Hanvil their, like, celebrity duo?
Yeah, that's their couple name.
Citizen Hanvil.
Okay, hold on. But that would be Citizen Hamvil, and then that would be but then that would be the animal universe.
Right, yeah, Citizen Hamvil is the...
Yeah, right. Okay.
Just the pig version.
Sorry, you had a question.
We know they go out to recruit specifically the Visionary and other characters.
Right.
But if I was a superpowered person and I wanted to join the Citizens of the Sun, do I have to trek all the way to Insula Primalis? Is there a jet there? I row a boat?
There's not a formalized process for it. There's not a fill out this form and then send it to here, put it in a rocket and mail it to the... so rather the...
it's not easy to get a hold of them either, so...
Right. But there are definitely characters that have joined the Citizens of the Sun by being around when they were doing a thing, and they're like, yes, us too. There have been people that were specifically recruited. There have been people that have gone to Insula Primalis and be like, Citizen Dawn, I'm here to seek you out. And she's like, some minor test, and then be like, nah, I don't like you that much, kill you.
Can we talk about that initially she was like, no, I'm just going to live here, and people started showing up at her doorstep.
Right.
So,
and that kept happening. So, yeah.
That doesn't really completely cease, but it's just harder to get there when it's on a dinosaur island, so...
Shows commitment.
Yeah.
Right.
It does.
Right. The thing is, you've got to want it.
You've passed the first test. You got here.
There's not really people that have been pressed into service in the Citizens of the Sun.
No, I don't think that they would stay around. And also, she wants loyalty.
Right.
She'd just kill them if they don't like what she's doing.
Which happens as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello.
First, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
It is awesome to be here, and it's been great. I'm Will, and I have a question that might broach into too far personally.
Perfect.
We have Anthony Drake. As an origin, we have Paul Parsons. Or is it different Paul?
Different Paul.
No, my brother's name is
You're
Paul.
Paul. Okay. Well, who else is in Sentinels that is a member of your
This
life?
Paul is actually in Omnitron's deck.
On the deck itself.
On the deck.
It's
yes.
not. It's not on any of the front sides of the cards. It's only on the back sides of cards.
Right.
Okay.
In the backstory.
Aldred Industries. Aldred Industries is named for Paul because Aldred is a
Pseudonym.
All right.
That's the word.
Who else is in Sentinels from your life?
Okay, so,
Pete. Yeah, Pete is.
We talked about in the setback episode that our friend Pete is.
Beacon Rubendahl Labs is named for a couple of my friends.
President Hargett.
President Hargett is. Vanessa Long is named for my now wife. She was my girlfriend at the time.
My now wife, not my later wife or my before wife, but my now wife.
And that's why she's all powerful.
It doesn't hurt.
We do mean things to her. Then, for the most part, characters that have a name in common with the real life person, for the most part, there's absolutely nothing but the name in common.
Yeah,
We're like, we need a name for this
difference.
character. Brian will use Vanessa for this one here.
Right.
Anthony happening to be a musician in both. Like I was like, I'm making a musician character.
Right.
I'm naming it after my brother. Adam's brother Paul is not like America guy or team leader guy.
He's strong.
Sure.
That's about it.
But like in a wiry way, not like in a built way.
No, he's built now. I
He's
don't know
still-
the last time you've seen him. He's short, but he's built.
The one that is the most is Pete.
Yeah.
Like Pete is
because
just
that character
setback.
was meant to be him as a superhero when he was created initially, and that was just straight up what, and we just kept that. So
Other names. Oh, Voss.
Yeah.
Grand Warlord Voss.
Yeah, good call.
Grand Warlord Voss was named after an old friend of ours.
College.
Right.
Yeah.
His name is Jeffrey Voss, and that last name is so cool. And we're like, Voss, that's a strong last name. And and at first, he was Grand Admiral Voss for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we're like, it's a cooler word.
Yeah.
Grand Warlord Voss.
Right.
Because it's better than a warlord. Anyway, so that is bug on my microphone. Sorry, you can edit that in post. So that's an inside joke that you guys don't get, because that's an inside joke for Trevor. We make Trevor do so much editing in post.
Much editing.
We're just like, we go off on a dumb tangent like we're doing now, and then we'll be like, oh, Trevor, it's fine. You can just edit that out later. And then like he does so 60% of the time, and then we'll listen to the episode later and be like, hey, I didn't intend for that. Okay. Right.
Wraith is named after Paul's,
Paul's wife
also.
is Maya, and yeah, so that's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple.
There might be a few more that we're forgetting. But
There's a couple more that I'm sure there's a few more that we're forgetting. Also, there's a couple that I'm thinking of that I just won't publicize because to protect the privacy of the people that are related. It's not
Bunker is my friend Tyler.
Oh yeah,
also.
Tyler, right. So anyway, but like Bunker is not your friend Tyler in any way other than
no.
name. Like right. So anyway,
he's a film critic. He's not.
Which like Bunker's definitely not. Anyway,
All right.
yeah.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, so we have looped around to somebody who has asked a question before.
Yeah.
So I feel like
we should take one or two of these.
No, we'll take these if we run out.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no. Yeah, let's do that. You guys like standing. This room is standing room only anyway. So yeah, let's take a couple of these. But I'm transitioning to a different letters section. So what do you think happens?
Well, I mean, Trevor, do you have any more music?
You have a button?
Christopher and Adam driving down a dirt road in their Volvo with the guns and the dogs.
So that was a reference to when we were young.
I'll tell a story. When we were young, we all had Volvos.
Yeah.
1980s Volvos. Because they were safe.
They're the best cars ever.
And I say safe with quotations. But I got in Adam's Volvo once with Christopher, and they both took out toy guns that they had taken the orange tips off of, and were just waving around while they were driving around. And I was in the back seat, and I was 14 or something at the time, and I was just like, if a cop sees us, we're just so screwed. But we're fine, because we were out in the middle of Shawnee, wherever. Anyway,
there are no consequences to our actions.
Unfortunately. I was so hoping you were going to get arrested that time.
Yeah. That time.
So now I feel like we're supposed to go into a letter section, but Anthony, instead of saying reading letters to you, said we're driving down a dirt road in a Volvo with guns and a dog.
All right, let's go.
We have to go because we do what the song says.
Bye, everybody.
It was a country song. They don't...
So I've got a question here from Broccoli.
Okay.
Broccoli writes, so you've said in previous casts that with the Oblivion event, the multiverse is effectively no more. However, you mentioned that tactics in the RPG happen in different timelines. Thus, I'm curious, are there only 2 universes now, or did Oblivion essentially just collapse all universes down to 1, and now as new decisions are made, new universes form, and eventually there will be a new multiverse, or will there only ever be 2 now?
Okay, so great question.
Yes.
There is technically still a multiverse.
Right. So
it's just not connected.
Right. So the thing that Oblivion does is Oblivion shatters the timelines, and as a result, there is now travel across time and across space and across realities. And that is possible because of what Oblivion does. Without Oblivion, that's not possible. So we remove Oblivion from the equation, as we're all about to do here. And with
if you
that,
succeed.
If you succeed, right? If you don't, then they all die. But you remove Oblivion from the equation, and as a result, now there's no more travel within time or space or reality. I mean, within space, you can still move through space.
You can still, you can still travel through time, just only forward and at the pace that it moves. Yeah.
But there's specifically no more hopping between realities. So that is the reason that there's only the one timeline. Now, a thing that Broccoli specifically says in here is that Oblivion's collapsing all realities down to 1. Hopefully you stop Oblivion from doing that, because that is specifically what Oblivion is trying to do. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
Yeah, but that's his goal, is to, whenever 2 timelines intersect and become the same, they are destroyed.
Realities are antimatter for each other.
Yeah.
And so Oblivion's goal is to make every reality as like each other reality as possible, so those realities will implode. And Oblivion's doing it, and it's working. Then the problem is that there's this one specific timeline that is not conforming, that is not working out, that Oblivion keeps in all
timeline you might be familiar with.
Right. Yeah. It's the animal timeline. In all of the timelines, there is there's like these different events that happen, like the cosmic Omnitron event, in which Oblivion kind of reaches out and goes, Omnitron, do more stuff. You didn't do enough stuff, because in other timelines you did more stuff. Do more stuff in this timeline. And it's supposed to work, but no, heroes, they stop it. Heroes keep stopping the things. You guys know, you've played Sentinels the Multiverse. Yeah. The heroes are stopping the bad things. And
a big notable example being Iron Legacy also.
That just solved. I mean, like, not that easily.
But it was stopped.
But it was stopped.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be. And so Oblivion is messing with things, and it can't get this timeline to conform. So it's like, fine, I'll erase this timeline myself, and then collapse all the other timelines. And so that's why this timeline is the last stand. Have we talked about this before? No?
Okay.
Well, swear word. Well, there's the Oblivion episode. Guess we don't have to record that one now. So anyway, wait, we didn't say why. Oh, because Oblivion wants to destroy everything. We'll get to that in the Oblivion episode.
His name is Oblivion.
Right, yeah. And then, sorry.
Yeah, I'll do one here. Yeah. I have one from Princess Cool. So...
I'm gonna pause you.
Okay.
Princess Cool isn't here, right? Okay, cool. And the Cult of Gloom isn't here either, right?
Okay.
I like how for Princess Cool, everybody shakes their head no, and for the Cult of Gloom, everybody just looks at us.
They're just silent.
Nobody shakes their head no.
Okay, is everyone here actually the Cult of Gloom?
Okay, some people are nodding, some people are shaking their heads.
You can level with me.
I don't. Did any of you meet Adam in a swamp anytime recently and have IPAs? And right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I don't bring the cloak with me.
It's really warm in this room, guys.
It's also really conspicuous. So, all right. So this is from Princess Cool, who writes, "Hello, gentlemen. I have some questions about the universe itself. What are the best-selling / highest reviewed books published by Sentinel Comics? What are the highest rated story arcs? Are there any infamously bad story arcs the writers would like to forget about? Do they have a cinematic universe? And if so, how faithful are the adaptations? Thank you for reading my letter, and have a wonderful day. Regards, Princess Cool."
All right, so let's do this bit by bit because there's a lot of things here. We're here.
Yeah.
Highest the best-selling / highest reviewed books. So the best-selling books, the Freedom 5 book is the best-selling book.
That's the most popular, biggest book.
Right. Mystery Comics is a short after it.
Yeah.
But the big books that you see lots of quotations from, those are the core books, and those are the best-selling books.
That they keep the numbering going, that they don't stop the series at any point or pause it even.
Like Prime Wardens is a really well-selling book in its last iteration.
Right.
Like, 'cause Prime Wardens goes for a while and then it stops and then it comes back with a new volume. But anyway, so yeah, right. So like the big books, the books you guys all know, those are the best books, and so this is both kind of a product of these are some of our best writers and these are some of our best storylines, but then also these are the things that people are gravitating towards the most, and so we're gonna like push the story in those directions, which we talked about a bit, kind of obtusely, in the Night Mist episode, where we're like, Night Mist is a side character, but then like these hotshot writers like made her an important deal, so she just became an important deal because people loved her. So okay,
and then the highest rated story arcs are things like Vengeance or Oblivion. These big crossovers, those make a lot of money.
And there's some smaller story arcs. There's some like individual issues, like, oh man, there's that one Night Mist story that's really good,
Right.
and there's that one Void Guard story.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
really sweet.
and that sort of is the question critical reception or commercial reception? So
yeah. So that was the thing that we talked about before that we wanted to bring up here about comic books being art.
Yes.
Because here's the deal: they're
Right.
not now. I think they are, and Adam thinks they are, and we love them, and that we feel strongly about the art of comic books, not just like the drawing art, but the art of comic books. But within media, that's not, for the most part, considered to be the case. Like if you look, even nowadays, where like we're enlightened about art or whatever, no, like,
comics are very mainstream, but they're not legitimate in terms of like what real artists think about them. You know,
right. Both in terms of illustration and in terms of
like
writing.
a list of the 1001 You Must Read just came out, and it's the entire list is spending itself proving that comics are art. They're the most like artsy corner books that you can imagine.
So people think that there's like, this super indie book that like only printed 500 copies and you can't really get it, and it was printed on low quality paper or whatever. Like that has a chance of being art, but that a big mainstream comic by a major publisher could never be art is kind of like the conceit. Which I think is swear words, but
it is a whole bunch of swear words.
Right, but that is the way the world, for the most part, thinks about comics, and that is also the case in this fictional world that has Sentinel Comics in it, and so.
So I actually want to answer the last part of this before we go back.
I know you were excited about that one.
Also, because I think we'll talk a little bit more about that part. So, do they have a cinematic universe? So, yes, but it's different.
So
than anything that we have here.
Right. They did a few standalone live action movies with some like big name actors doing like the Freedom Fives and stuff like that, and they did fine. Like they did okay.
Nothing that really glommed on. But they started doing a series of animated movies.
Full feature length
theatrical
films.
Release animated films
in the movie theaters. With like really solid voice acting and art. There was one of the questions was, were they faithful? Because they're animated, like they were actually extremely faithful.
Yeah.
And they were adaptations of a lot of the main storylines that you know. And then what they did is they actually had that actually be an animated cinematic universe where the movies tied together and there were arcs told across multiple movies, and they did the thing that we want the most.
This is what we want. That they did animated television series that build up and culminate into movies.
So you'd have a big movie like introducing a team or having a big crossover event, and then you'd go and have like several different series of animated series, and you like watch the different series that go together. But then it's all coming to a head at the big movie. Oh man.
Yep, it was perfect.
So if you guys are very motivated fans, and we appreciate you coming to the letters page and listening to the podcast and buying stuff. If you could make that happen, that would be great.
Get on that. So then the part of this question that we didn't answer that I think we'll maybe go into a little bit the most is, are there any infamously bad story arcs? So we talk about one. Christopher's making a face. He maybe died. Yeah, we talked about one in the Ennead episode.
Yeah, all right. The original Ennead story was a bad story.
Right.
Other writers
It
who
was a
came
good
along,
concept with very bad execution.
and like the concept didn't even necessarily sell itself until other writers came along and said, "Oh, hold on. We could do this so much better." And then they did, and it was like, "Oh, now the Ennead story is great." And so, yeah, in general, the world of Sentinel Comics could wish that there was only one Ennead event, which is why we kind of talk about it like there is.
But we didn't want to leave you just with something that we've told you before, so we have another
ahead.
really bad story for you. And it's a Fanatic story.
Yep. So there's this Fanatic. Oh my God, this got retconned. So this just got wiped out of existence, and people pretend like this never happened, but it definitely happened. There was this Fanatic story. You don't see it in the card game because
why would you?
We pretend like it never
Really?
happens.
Yeah.
There's this Fanatic story in which some writers Fanatic's always going on about the being an angel stuff and like smiting for the Lord and justice and stuff. But like, what if we try to push it in different directions, do different things with her?
And have her go try a little bit of every religion.
Right, so she spends like an arc as a Buddhist and then an arc being really Jewish and then like just trying lots of different things about like Fanatic is she's every religion.
Yeah. It is antithetical to the core of the character.
Right. There's that. And then also it's like problematic because it's written by some guy who's like, oh sure, I get every religion. I could Wikipedia them and then be like, oh, write this character based on, Buddhism, and I totally know everything about Buddhism from reading the Wikipedia article, so I'll write this character, it'll totally work out, and she'll do things like this is pretty racist, guys. Like you can't just all right, cool. So yeah, that happened, and then other people that got axed real hard, and that writer was fired real bad, and then they made their own like comics that were full of swears and naked people, and never worked in the legitimate industry again. So.
There you go.
Oh, there was another name.
I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Is that a name of a writer? Nope. I don't need to hear it. Not crossing over into properties. But there was another name that you said in the car. Anyway, yeah, right. So.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a pretty bad one. And so there's other things, but that was like when we were like, okay, what's the worst story that we ever talked about? And like that's the worst story we ever talked about. And we debated, like, let's never tell anyone that story.
I don't know really why we made one that was specifically bad, other than authenticity. But
so I don't like. We never sat down to make that one so
But
much
we
as
were
like,
just like, what if this happened?
like this
And,
dumb
like,
thing definitely happened
Right.
because that would have happened over the course. Fanatic's been around for a long time, so over the course of a story, somebody would have been like, oh well, I want to try being edgy or dumb, and yeah. Anyway, so sorry. Is that everything for Princess Cool?
That is.
Okay, we've got a bunch of people standing,
Yeah, so
and they're
let's
being
go
very
back to-
patient. So
let's go back to here.
You got one more transition in you?
Well, we'll find out.
Adam and Christopher. It's not in alphabetical order. Adam and Christopher. Half the things they talk about, I don't understand.
Could you just come out every Friday? Is that
only half?
I've gotten better. I used to tune it all out, but now I try to keep up.
All right, okay,
Cool.
all right, okay.
Hi, Michael back.
Hi, Michael back.
So, in the bunker episode, you mentioned that Tyler Vance's favorite sandwich is probably meatball sub.
Yeah.
What are some interesting dietary constraints, restrictions, favorites that may exist among the heroes and villains of the Sentinel Comics universe? For example, what does Dr. Medico eat as a being of pure energy?
Dr. Medico, Sentinels / Void Guard episode for that one.
yeah.
Yeah, because like we need to talk about how Dr. Medico works. Cool. And so like, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. this is not a thing that we spend a lot of time talking about. I know. We have some legitimate outrage here because like you guys ask us questions about super detailed, in-depth minutia, and we're like, yeah, no problem. We know all those things. We haven't really talked about food allergies a lot.
Well, not necessarily allergies.
No. Like, right. So, I mean, some people keep kosher.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that. I imagine that guys spends a lot of time avoiding vegetables.
Yeah, probably has an aversion to fruits or vegetables for some very strong reasons.
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah.
So look, this is a good question. I mean, it's an annoying question, but that probably makes it good. So I would say submit this question to the forum. Oh, you did?
Oh, okay.
I figured you'd never answer it otherwise.
How long ago did you submit it? Did I delete it? I don't know.
It was one of the first. I submitted probably second week of the podcast.
Okay, listen, there's like thousands of questions on that list. Anyway, yeah, no, like I want to.
Well, yeah, we want to talk about that a little bit because it's worth having a conversation about. So submit it again, and we'll answer it on the interlude.
Right, because if not this interlude, another one because like this is it's not like we need to get our story straight on this peanut allergies. Right. But this is a thing that Adam and I are going to talk about for like half an hour for a 5-minute answer.
Yeah,
and. As much as you guys might want to see the sausage made, there's a lot of people in line still, and I want to get to as many of them as possible.
And a lot of people do eat sausage in them, so
it's true. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to the recreational episode, as it were.
Hi, Christopher and Adam. This is Ryan. I had a couple of questions, and hopefully they're very quick answers.
Okay.
You've said on occasion that you hope to never have to use because comics in a lot of reasons.
Yes.
During the Chrono Ranger episode, I was slightly disappointed to hear that the definition that you've given for the difference between the RPG and the Tactics timeline is Rook City is destroyed or not destroyed. Mm-hmm. However, in the Chrono Ranger episode, it is destroyed and then gets rewound. Right. So, what do you define as the splitting point that allows the heroes to actually make the decision to go and help Chrono Ranger?
Right, and you're right there. You've got it. Because you said like that it's destroyed / not destroyed, and in the Chrono Ranger episode it's destroyed and then rewound. Rook City is destroyed, like Rook City gets destroyed, and then in one of the timelines it gets rewound, and like that is.
And the rewinding is actually what makes it separate timelines.
Okay, I have one small problem with that as a follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said the heroes decided to help Chrono Ranger or not help Chrono Ranger.
Yeah.
So the split has to happen before then, otherwise they would have always helped Chrono Ranger. So is it just the force of Oblivion blowing up Rook City that just says the timelines now just get broken? Or is the way the timelines make more realities in the Sentinels universe just decisions that people make?
Well, I mean, so there are splitting of timelines based on decisions and splitting of timelines based on things that happen, just like in a real world multiverse theory sort of situation. With the difference between the tactics and the RPG timeline is there is like yes, as you said, with Oblivion dealing a bunch of damage, Rook City being destroyed, that much damage like creates a rift there, and that is where that split comes from. But also,
and it kind of ripples outward also.
Right, absolutely.
Outward in quotations.
Right, not physically. But
yeah.
But the thing that's happening here is unique in that we have Oblivion with all of the power doing using a giant pile of that power all at once on a person from a different time who has attached to it himself like this time travel. Like there's so much stuff happening here. There's so much weird time stuff going on between Chrono Ranger himself, his connection to Khan, the arm from La Capitan / La Commodora. We talked about that, right? We revealed that arm comes from. Okay, I was like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
But and then the Oblivion damage, like that mess of energy is that sort of whole resonant instance is what that's what creates the split. Not so much the decision of the heroes or the rewinding of it. Like that is the visible. Like this point here is the split, but the why is all of this confluence here.
So the destruction is what splits it, but it's not really present in the RPG timeline because of the rewinding.
Because of the rewinding.
Well, so in the RPG timeline, a large portion of Rook City still is destroyed.
Yeah.
And part of what you'll be doing in the RPG timeline is assisting with the rebuilding of Rook City.
Of Rook City, of Megalopolis. There's a bunch of destruction that we're recovering from Rook City. The difference is, in the RPG timeline, Rook City was mostly destroyed. In the Tactics timeline, Rook City was obliterated.
Broken, if you will.
Leaving a situation that, due to the destruction everywhere else in the world, and the infrastructure destruction, and the collapse in some ways of some parts of society, it could not be recovered. So the event still happens. The impact of that event is what changes.
Gotcha.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Don't die.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I guess I'll just talk to Adam then.
All right. I'm just going to start
Clearly
making
my
stuff
dream
up.
here. Hi, Adam.
Hi.
Christopher. So there's something like 33 heroes that we get to play in Sentinels, and like 4 hero teams. My biggest question, really, and I've wanted to ask this before on the letters page, but I never really know where to put it. Is there more notable teams or heroes that we don't get to play in there that pop up a lot in Sentinels comics?
We get questions about this a lot.
Okay.
Like, all right, we know there's major villains, and we know there's like minor villains, and we assume there's probably some sort of minor villains off to the sides that are the level of mooks, or even like mook captains. I mean, we've talked about some, and we talked about in the Chairman Operative episode stuff about the original operative was the bear. And so there's other characters like this that show up in the world of Sentinel Comics. Have we seen all of the heroes? No,
we haven't seen all the heroes. Yeah.
Right. We haven't seen all the heroes.
You've seen all of the heroes that are important to the story that we're telling.
This kind of goes back to the question that we had about like the big best-selling books and stuff. We've seen the heroes that people care about. There's somebody that cares about every hero, but still, there's the heroes that are the notable, the headliners, and even like the second and third tier below that.
Yeah, we get down to basically C-list by the end of it.
Yeah, but we don't get into D-list.
We don't get into any farther than that, but they do exist.
And I would say that we don't even get every C-list hero, but we get every A and B-list hero.
Yeah, we get the skim of the C-list.
Yeah,
basically.
Right.
Okay. So follow-up question, is there one you would be okay talking about, or is that a little too far? Okay.
a lot of that stuff is either just like we could like throw around some information right now, but like I don't want to bother digging into like this is kind of like a listen, there's enough to talk about. But the other thing is that some of those might become important later.
Right.
That's highly unlikely.
There is room in the RPG for a lot more heroes, and you'll be creating a lot more heroes.
This is the other thing, is that when you're creating heroes in the Sentinel Comics RPG, you can create a brand new hero who's just on the scene, fresh-faced and ready to go. Fine, great. You can also create a hero that's been a part of Sentinel Comics for 50 years. It's fine. You can do that. That's an important thing, that when you are creating characters in the Sentinel Comics RPG, you are creating characters, the characters that come in the starter kit, the Freedom 5 plus their former intern Unity, those characters are built using the exact same character creation rules that you will be using to build your characters. Because we knew that if we made heroes in that game and you couldn't reverse engineer them, somebody'd be like, that's not how that works.
Right.
There's no way that hero has that ability. And we because we are those people. We're making the games we want to see in the world, and this is a part of that. And so with that in mind, like when you're making heroes, you're making a hero that can stand alongside Haka and Legacy and Tachyon as a stalwart companion. So
bring someone back from the 40s.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody asked me yesterday, they're like, hey, here's the deal. You can tell me. I won't tell anybody. You can totally tell me. Ra's not really dead, right? Like, I could play Ra in the RPG, right? I'm like, no, Ra's dead and gone. Like, gone. And they're like, wow, see, but like, Ra is so my favorite character to the point that maybe I don't want to buy the RPG now. And I'm like, that's your call, but you can just make Ra in the RPG.
Yeah, you can roll him up.
You can just do that. And like, I'm going to say, well, no, Ra's not in the RPG, but who am I to say that? You can make Ra in the RPG, and now Ra is part of your world of Sentinel Comics in the RPG. You can say, there's a new Ra with the new stuff for Ra. Or you could say, nah, Dr. Blake Washington Jr. is back for reasons. Or you could say, the Oblivion destruction never happened. Oblivion destroyed them all and destroyed the Ennead and Anubis, but Ra somehow got out.
Or you can just play as Oblivion.
No.
Don't do that.
You could. No, we're doing that.
Yeah, we're doing
We're
that.
doing that, though. I'm just going to talk about it now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to do that.
All right.
Okay, so...
Oh, that's pretty big. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is pretty big. But in the Visionary episode, we like totally super slyly released the name of a thing that I think we'd never released the name of before. Can anybody tell me what that is? Does anybody? Okay, cool. Maybe we had. No, you can say
You
it.
can
Like,
spoil it if you.
what? Muse? Oh yeah. So that was the thing.
Oh
and,
yeah. That's...
And Muse is on what team?
Daybreak.
Had we talked about Daybreak before that point? Oh. Okay, cool. See, there's a lot.
Okay.
So Muse is on this team, Daybreak. And so with that, like we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting close to that.
I'm willing to just say this one.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to just tell them everybody on there?
No, just this one.
Oh, just the one.
Just the one.
Okay.
Just the one. Well, because the other ones are going to come up in other episodes like fairly naturally.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Okay.
this one's not going to come up till the Oblivion.
There's one that won't, but
that's
yeah. Okay,
good.
that's fine.
Right.
Yep.
So Oblivion canonically is destroyed. You're gonna do it. You have to. It's the rules.
Yep. If you don't win, you have to keep trying until you do.
Yeah, or you're a loser.
Yeah.
You're gonna destroy Oblivion. When Oblivion is destroyed, there's this giant release of Oblivion energy, which we know there's this Oblivion energy that's this like weird, what's this thing that is part of Oblivion, but then like when physical pieces are broken off of Oblivion, we get Oblivion shards. And when energy is removed from Oblivion, we get Aeon Men. Have we revealed that Aeon Men come? Okay, cool. See, thank you guys. This is good. Usually I have to go, hold on, click. Did we reveal that before?
Yeah.
Well,
I know. So yeah, then we talk about this happening in the Deadline episode.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Because he absorbs the energy and he's got to do something with it.
Right.
So he creates a person.
Yeah. Just for fun.
Like Deadline, the thing that Deadline does with all the or Lifeline does with all the energy that he siphoned from Oblivion is he makes an entity that is a humanoid entity that is the remnants of this energy from Oblivion, and this entity will be called Aeon Girl. She's a year old, and she's a part of the team.
Kind of a
Daybreak.
blank slate.
Yeah, and she's
real powerful.
Extremely powerful. Not at all like Citizen On. No mastery of this power. No understanding of what it can do. No understanding of who she is or what she is. And as a result of an ever-changing character that she's trying new things on all the time in terms of like figuring out who she is.
What is her personality at all?
What she looks like. I mean, she has a form, but she can choose to just mess with that because living energy, but not living energy like Dr. Medico. Like she has a physical form that is coalesced out of this energy. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There's
I don't know
something
how that
big,
all connected to how we got there, but anyway. So yeah, Aeon Girl. So thanks for the question. Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello, prospective customers.
Good. All right, hold on.
I'm not buying from you. I already have. I have all the fruit
I'm
I
just
need right in front of me.
ordinary, totally not villainous produce vendor.
Okay, listen, people in Radioland. Earlier today, this guy came up to us, and can you do the thing again? Do you remember the words you said about these things?
I think I could replicate.
Okay,
it.
so we'll hold the things up. He was handing us things, and so he goes,
"Oh, so Christopher and Adam, it's so good to see you. I have some fruit to give you. Christopher, you're such a peach, so here's a peach for you. Adam, you do seem so tired all the time. Do you have a case of scurvy? Here, have a lemon to help with that, and both of you together are the perfect pair. Please ignore the fuses on the tops of those. They're just for decoration."
This is a man who is green. His skin is green. He's wearing an orange turtleneck and a green apron, and he's got a hat and a tomato that says TNT on it now. I don't even know where he got that. He didn't have that a second ago. Yeah.
It's a thing I do.
Yeah, and he gave me this lemon with the radioactive symbol on it.
Yeah,
so.
and there's fuses on all. Anyway, so great greengrocer. What's So you were saying? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Don't worry about it. You still have some time left.
Look, okay, I made a pact, so I should be okay.
Did you make a pact?
Yep, not with him, but I should be okay.
You weren't supposed to make a pact.
I should be good. I should be protected from this.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, you had a question,
I
sir?
mean, the Cult of Gloom comes to my co-op, so you never know.
All right.
All right. totally normal grocery store employee guy. What is it that
That's me.
What is it you have to talk to us about today?
Actually, I have a question about the Aeon Men.
Okay.
I'm curious. We know the Aeon Men are products of Oblivion, but they've been around for quite a while in Sentinels. We've seen them throughout card art pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah.
What did everyone think these things were before they realized Oblivion was a thing?
So they thought they were some sort of like weird alien, space alien.
Yeah,
and
them showing up as early as they do in the card game is not actually indicative of when they show up in the plot line.
But they
either.
do. But they
show
do
up earlier, but they primarily show up a lot closer to the Oblivion event than the core set would lead you to believe.
Right. That said, Oblivion or Aeon Men show up much earlier than Oblivion, because. So do Oblivion shards. We've got Oblivion physical pieces, and we have Oblivion energy in this world since day one. I want, if you haven't already, you probably have already thought about this, and you're probably already like, yeah, we know you're very proud of yourselves. But listen, I'm really proud of myself for this. In the core set of Sentinels of the Multiverse, we show you things that still haven't fully come to fruition and will during Oblivion, because like. Seriously,
we set up this payoff without anticipation of ever being able to do it.
We thought we were going to maybe make it to Shattered Timelines. We really hope Shattered Timelines is. We were like, okay, the big thing we want to tell the story to is Iron Legacy.
Iron Legacy. That's what we just get that far.
Remember how long ago that was? But anyway, so no, everything has a payoff.
Yes,
everything has a payoff. So yeah, what people thought they were like? Oh, here come these orange armored guys from space, and when we fight them, if we defeat them, like they just kind of dissipate into energy. That's weird. Some sort of weird. Are they aliens themselves? Are they like an army? Are they robots that are animated by this energy? We don't know, but we know there's these space invaders that attack every so often. So, and they were called Aeon Men. They were referred to as Aeon Men. That name was coined, and it was like, oh, I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. We'll call them Aeon Men.
Right.
For some reason. I'm sure that's not hinting at anything deeper and darker here.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
I think that covers it. Enjoy the fruit when they ripen. It'll be a blast.
Oh my God. I love you people. Like, so a thing that we'll get to your question in a second, but the thing in the meta world, there's somebody here. Oh, did Walking Target make it to the? Oh, you're right in front of me. This handsome chap here on Reddit, he posts the full bulleted write-ups of the entire episodes, which like, man, yeah, right, and like, man, I'm not gonna do that. People early on was like, Christopher, could you do like a write-up of what's in the episode? I was like, no.
That's way too much work for any one human.
That takes too much time. No one should have to do that. But then he just does it. He does a really good job, and they're really complete. I read them actually. Afterwards, I'm like, oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah. And actually, I use you as a resource too, because remember how sometimes I say like, did we talk about that before? What did Walking Target say? So yeah, so like that's phenomenal. Right. So as a result, I read the Reddit posts after each episode. Like at some point, it's not like, oh, no, I gotta go to Reddit. I was like, I do that at some point because I want to see the synopsis. And like sometimes people are like, I want to make sure people aren't like, oh, they missed this important thing, like, oh, we did, or something like that. Like I'm just trying to keep tabs. And on the most recent episode, somebody commented and said, okay, so hold on, with this meta weird Cult of Gloom, Princess Cool, bloody blop bloops plot thing that's going on, the Biomancer stuff, yeah. The Christopher and Adam seem like they're annoyed with it.
We're not annoyed with it.
I love it. I said we love it. So I posted and said we love it.
Yeah.
And then a user with the name Cult of Gloom responded and said we love you guys too. So right, and so yeah, like we genuinely love it. And also another question that I get a lot is, this is scripted, right? Like this is the thing you guys are doing. Nope. I don't know where this is going. I'm on this train. Like we have talked before about the fact that we're a little concerned that at this point we cannot stop doing the letters page, not because of Cult of Gloom reasons, but because we have like thousands of listeners, and if we stopped doing it, I think like the backlash from that would be bad. We're a little afraid of you. And now I'm even more concerned that the Cult of Gloom, Anyway, I want to know where the story's going.
I do too, yeah.
So,
I do too.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Your question.
Right, yeah, ask a question. Save
Okay,
me.
So I have another environment question.
Sure.
Yes.
Who is Madame Minimer, and how does she run her carnival?
Okay.
Are you doing the same thing that I'm doing?
So some of this needs to wait, I think.
I mean,
but not for long.
No, I mean we're gonna because we talked about the thing. We're gonna do like an interlude or something about it. But no, because
we can just do it.
Well, okay, we're gonna tell them what episode it's gonna come up in because
it'll give a lot of information.
Well, no, we'll also tell them why.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to tell them what episode?
Yeah, it'll come in the Slaughterhouse 6 episode.
And why?
Glamour.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Greetings again.
Hi.
Hey.
I see you guys have come under threat, so I realized that perhaps. Oh, by the way, I'm dressed as the Argent in case anyone in
It's
Radio
Argent
Land
Adam
can't
is
see
here.
me.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. We just. We've just been granted a buff, a damage taken -1 buff.
Right.
So
my concern, I'm excited to have this. However, my concern is that a person very close to you might flip it over on us.
Well,
that's Citizen Don's laugh. I'm sure the mics are getting that.
Yeah, Citizen Don is laughing joyously.
Well, at least I can say that it'll be until the start of my next turn, and since I'm not getting back in line, it'll be perpetual, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Hey, cool.
Anyway, I had another question.
Oh yeah. Oh sure. Yeah.
Right. It's a bit more mundane, but as far as the episode with the Argent, you mentioned he's got lots of things to do.
Yeah.
Like I've got way too many hobbies, so I totally understand.
Right.
But doing all these other things, does he take a sidestep out of doing all this stuff to sleep?
Sure.
Where does he do that? Does he step out into the void? I know it's a dangerous place. I figured he doesn't hop over there and bubble or I don't know what.
Sure. Where does Argent Adept live? Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
In particular, I'm kind of wondering about any of the heroes that you haven't mentioned, like Freedom Tower, obviously. Setback has an apartment /
Freedom Tower is very big. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a lot of heroes not necessarily live there, but will make it at least a temporary home for them.
We'll stay there, and they have a really good medical facility, so a lot of heroes will come there to get fixed up also.
Right. And that kind of leans into what happens in the future with the RPG timeline, with Freedom Tower becoming Freedom Plaza and being no, let's just lean into doing that thing.
Right.
Whereas Freedom Tower and the Tactics timeline is nope, this is our home and the doors are not open.
Right.
So, so he does not sleep in the void.
No, you don't sleep there. Don't do it.
Argent Adept.
You can, but don't do it.
Other than Night Mist, Argent Adept is the character in the multiverse that is the most equipped to deal with void, with being in the void. Night Mist spends way more time in the void, and it changes her, not necessarily for the better. Sure, she gets more powerful and she gets stronger, but at what cost? But the Argent Adept spends as little time as possible in the void.
Yeah, there's a lot of
he rarely goes into the void. He pulls energy from the void, but going into the void,
right? To actually answer the question, there's a lot of depictions of him hovering in the woods sleeping. In actual comics, because he spends a lot of time out in the Nexus of the Void and also in other places that are strong with magical energy, and a lot of times he'll meditate in lieu of sleeping, but not all the time.
Yeah, he does need sleep, but he can kind of forestall that for some amount of time. And yeah, there's we depict Argent Adept in these kind of mystical woods with some regularity.
Yeah.
It's on his regular character card behind him. There's these just kind of like forest stuff behind him, and that's kind of this place that he goes with some regularity. So yeah.
Does that answer? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Christopher and Adam.
Hello.
I'm Benton Pricey Province's Winfrey.
Yeah.
And I had a question.
Costly countries.
Cheap states.
He's right there.
Yeah, right. So Cheap States is his brother, right? Yeah, that's great.
The Visionary has projections, Captain Cosmic has constructs, and the Idealist has concepts. How are all those powers different?
And also there's one more, right? That works very similarly. Yeah, who said that? Yeah, Infinitor has manifestations.
They all have creation powers. How are they all different or similar?
Sure. So Visionary and Idealist are most similar in that the difference is that for the Idealist, it's a thing that she does like a lot. That's her focus of her power. And with the Visionary, it's a thing that she can do. And even still, like the thing that Visionary makes is a fake copy of herself.
Yeah, Visionary is projections are
the one projection. Yeah,
right. Her projection is actually more like shaped telekinesis than anything else.
Well, and it's as informed by her telepathy because she's making an illusion that's like, hey.
But it's just a combination of those two powers. It's not actually creating a thing like Captain Cosmic or Infinitor are doing.
Because Captain Cosmic, and that's the difference. Captain Cosmic and Infinitor are making stuff. Their powers, I would say, are closer to Unity's powers than the Visionary and the Idealist. The Idealist is making a thing with her mind and using that thing, and it has a level of solidity necessary to accomplish its goals, but it's not like a physical item that somebody could like pick up and walk around with or anything. It's still a thing that she's controlling with her mind, and which is why you don't know this yet. Which is why some of you do. The Visionary, when the Idealist is like controlling a lot of things, there's a lot of dangers involved with that within her deck.
But Captain Cosmic and Infinitor are making these hard light things,
right? That they need to keep their sustained influence to keep them going, but they don't. It takes very little.
If Captain Cosmic makes you a sword, you can pick it up and use it. So,
thank you.
No problem. Thank you. And those aren't made out of psychic power; those are made out of light and energy.
Right? Yeah.
Hi, Leo Melanson, aka Level Up Leo, aka Jack Donovan, aka Drugged Up Dad, blah 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 blah.
I'm so glad we met you and learned that your name is Leo Melanson, and not Leo Melanson that we've been saying on the episodes. I'm surprised that you. Thank you for not like yelling at us on the internet because like we try to get people's names right, but also.
You mentioned the Cult of Gloom earlier. That reminds me, I got to get their contact information from you later. I woke up with a pin in my shoulder a couple of weeks ago. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know either. That's
right. Yeah, I love that happened to you, and now you're dressed as Spite. Like that. And I assume you were planning the Spite costume before.
Well before.
Yeah.
It's just too perfect.
So my second question is actually about the meta universe where Sentinel comics actually exist as comics.
Okay.
Okay, so the other day I was going through my parents' attics and I found these VHS tapes called Laser Riders.
Yeah.
And I think I spotted Captain Cosmic and Visionary in these Laser Riders. How in canon is that? Does that actually happen in the Sentinel Comics universe?
So it was a licensed crossover. So it was not like, hey, we have these characters inhabit this universe. They said, hey, these are on the same network. We want to do a crossover. Can we work out a licensing arrangement?
And what many of you have realized, because I heard a couple of like ears perk up there, is that means that in the fictional world in which Sentinel comics are printed, that Laser Riders was an 80s Saturday morning cartoon show.
That ran alongside the Freedom 5 cartoons,
right? And then also, so that's the one layer of fictional world. The next layer down, the fictional world of Sentinel Comics is where Spirit Island exists.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
And you can connect Sentinels of the Multiverse to Galactic Strike Force.
Yeah.
And you can collect Galactic Strike. Anyway.
Go get your pins and strings, kids.
Yeah. Oh, so is there anybody here with a corkboard? Like a corkboard at home with strings and... No, seriously? Yes. Okay. Okay. Because like I know there are people out there with corkboards. Not just like I imagine. Nope. I have had photos tweeted at me. I know there are people out there with corkboards, doing stuff, following along, and I'm sorry / you're welcome / thank you / oh gosh. Anyway, I didn't have a point here. I just wanted to know, like, if any of the corkboard people are here, and congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
What? No.
Hi, Citizen Cool Pain again.
Greetings.
I have a question about misinformation. The power set she eventually winds up with, reality warping.
Yeah.
Was that something that was purely in the chemicals? Was it something that was innate to the body of Amina Twain in this timeline? Or was it something that came with the alternate universe Amina Twain when she passed through whatever exists between realities?
Good job. All right. So,
all of the above.
Well, yeah. So the chemicals. So no, not all of the above.
Some of the above.
So
at least one of the above.
So so you said 3 different things.
Yes.
One of them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other one is the space between the 2 other things you said. Anyway, I'll get there.
Yes.
So so the chemicals have power things that happen because
they're more of a catalyst than anything.
Because they're chemicals.
Well, and like what we see with with Rook City, we get plague rat and stuff like that. Like these chemicals have the ability to unlock stuff that has a chance of happening and things like that. With that in mind, the body of Amina Twain, no powers. The mind of Amina Twain from this reality, no powers. The mind of Amina Twain from some other reality, no powers. However, if you take a mind and push it through reality, it might pick up some trailers on the way, not like in a dark visionary picking up another entity way, but like being pushed through reality grabs onto certain energy, certain reality warping energy that then just kind of hangs out in that form.
And maybe you can't do anything with it at first.
Right.
Maybe you need something else to be dumped on you in order to...
Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah. If one were to speculate.
Right. I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah, wait for that episode.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh gosh, behind him.
Hello, Adam and Christopher.
Who's behind us?
Hello.
Dylan Thurston.
Yeah, there's somebody behind you. Sorry, go ahead. We were now focused on you and ignoring whatever's behind you.
My question, it seems like the setup for Oblivion in the Sentinel Comics world of the writers of Sentinel Comics took decades, it seems. It seems like they have the writers have a superhuman ability to keep secrets. Do superpowers exist in the world? Oh, right.
Nope.
And I don't. To clarify that a little more, I don't think that any of the writers were really keeping secrets. I think that there were a lot of writers, and they added to later stories, and so the writers back in the '60s didn't know what the writers in the early 2000s were going to do.
Right, and like we said, that the Aeon Men showed up, and that led to Oblivion eventually. This is a chicken and the egg situation. The Aeon Men weren't like, oh, let's put the Aeon Men to tease Oblivion. No, they were a foe. They were like, some writers like, hey, I just need some like space foes in orange armor with blue energy, whatever. And then some other writer, when the editorial staff was going towards the Oblivion event, they're like, hey, we've got these space spirit thingies, whatevers. We can use those as part of the Oblivion story. They fit with that. They make sense with that. We can make that work. It's like, okay, great. Let's use it. Like, we're doing Oblivion. Let's use everything. What are we not using? Let's use that. And
right. We and you have the advantage of looking at this 60-plus year period as one story, but those writing it did not.
Now, that's not to say there weren't secrets being kept, but not by the writers, more by the editorial staff. The editorial staff is where a lot of... So in the comics industries, a lot of where the writing comes from, the writers are writing issues, but the editors are the ones that are deciding what's in those issues.
They a lot of times control like a whole story arc. They say that they have a meeting and they say this is what we want to do, and how are our writers going to execute that?
Right. So we need these heroes doing these things with these villains. We're going to introduce these new characters, and like let's develop all this stuff. Great, we have all this stuff. Now we're gonna grab a couple of our writers and a bunch of our artists, and we're gonna have them make this story. Follow this bulleted list and make this story. And so, like, That is so. Those are the people. Those are the devious jerks behind all of the nonsense.
Yeah, but obviously those people didn't work there for 70 years either.
Right.
So there's several editorial changes they go through also.
Yeah, and there's information that gets passed hand for hand, but it's not as much as a lot of things are like, wow, that they kept that secret forever. It's like, nah, they built on what was done by other things.
Right.
We kept that secret forever.
We have a superhuman ability to keep secrets.
In this world, this real reality, we have superpowers. Yes. But in the fictional reality, the publishers in Sentinel Comics, there's no superpowers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Lies.
Yep. This has led fantastically into my question.
All right, so we have guys standing before us.
Adam.
Yes.
Christopher.
Hi.
Long-time listener. First time confronting the creator of my creators. So I was walking around the Geneva Conventions earlier, and I heard somebody say something that looks like a pink version of that guy who breaks the fourth wall. You know, let's call him Expired Puddle. And so, obviously, I knew that this was not the case. If anything, he was inspired by me.
Right.
But I think you know that that's not even really the real connection here. So I think everybody here obviously knows where I'm going with this. What is my favorite color? Did you think of it? Did you think of it? Or did the people you think of it? Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're going here. I see where you're going. Okay. All right.
Oh. Okay. I mean, he likes that fuchsia.
Yeah, but that's not his favorite color.
No. But that's a color that he's learned to love.
Right. No. So colors he loves.
Yeah.
Fuchsia.
Yeah.
Violet.
Yeah.
Periwinkle.
Yeah. He loves black and blue in certain contexts.
And he likes a bit of red now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of green.
Yeah.
Colors. The colors of the rainbow.
Yeah.
I'm just naming colors now.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
But his favorite color is yellow. And that was not our decision. That came from us harvesting the minds of the fictional editorial staff of.
But they knew that he just decided that on his own.
Right.
So
They knew he decided that on his own, and then we learned that from spying on their. Okay, so this is where we come clean.
Yeah.
I can't keep this farce up anymore, guys. It's been months, years of lies upon lies. We didn't create any of this stuff. There's an actual alternate reality where all this is true. And we have the superpower to look into that reality, and it's not even that useful because we can just kind of like picture window, look into it, and we just like stealing.
We just write it down. I didn't even draw any of this.
And so it's
all a sham.
It's all a sham. But here's the deal: we're the only ones that can look into that reality. So like, you can hate us for being thieves, but then you get nothing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Not canon.
Yeah, I'll follow that.
Sure.
Someone had to.
So my question's a little weird for me. The Oblivion event.
Yeah.
Was that all just so Sentinel Comics could launch a gritty new Sentinel's Tactics comic, or is Sentinel's Tactics not even a comic?
Sentinel Tactics is we mentioned earlier that there's lots of timelines post the split. There's lots of timelines.
But are there a lot of different comics written by Sentinel's Comics covering those timelines?
Right, and they're not. The reason that we have the RPG time, what we call the RPG timeline and the Tactics timeline, we've talked about many times. We need to come up with like actually better names, but that's the ones that people will know them by.
Maybe we'll do that this weekend.
Sure, maybe.
Well, we're not doing anything else.
Right.
We're just sitting here.
But the timelines that you have seen and that we talk about are the timelines that comics are happening in. And that's the only reason we can see them, and that's the only reason that we're talking about them, is because there is a line of comics. And right after the Oblivion event is a reboot event for the world of Sentinel Comics. And that reboot results in the RPG timeline.
Okay.
And the RPG timeline goes for years before any of the issues of the Tactics timeline comes out.
It's not a reboot in that they reboot the stories. It's more of a relaunch and a rebranding.
Right.
It's meant to get new readers, but they don't restart any of the numbering. They keep all that. They just say this is a clean jumping on.
They restart some of the numbering.
They restart some of the numbering.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
they don't restart all the numbering though. For that.
For the RPG timeline?
For the RPG. They restart all the numbering for tactics.
Well, because the tactics one is a different. This is what you don't hear on there.
Yeah, you get to see us argue now.
No, so the tactics is obviously brand new numbering,
Right.
because what we were getting to in a second here is that the tactics timeline happens separately, and
Right.
it happens years later, and it's a relaunch because it's people going, oh hey, wait a minute, Sentinel Comics has gotten like really like mostly positive and really exciting, and that's good, but we want some dark gritty stories, and so
Right.
that's where they came up with.
Yeah, some Young Guns creators got on there and
Yeah.
they want
Came out
to
of
take it in
nowhere.
a different direction.
Yes, and so that's
Yeah.
where the Sentinel Tactics timeline comes
Right.
from. The RPG timeline definitely does a relaunch of a reboot of the numbering of like every book.
We discussed that Freedom 5 keeps their numbering.
No, Freedom 5 can't keep their numbering
Why can I not keep their numbering?
because it's going away.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, this happens all the time. I remember things weird. So.
Yes, it's true. You do.
Yeah.
You are thinking that is the case.
Okay, that was what we were going to do.
You
but
were, right. You were
yes.
thinking that was the case.
Right.
Because you're like, but wait, there's no new numbering for Freedom 5. That's because there's no numbering for Freedom 5. There's not an ongoing Freedom 5 book
that's
anymore.
correct.
There's a Sentinels of Freedom book, and that has to start with the new numbering, and thus everything starts with the new numbering, because that is Freedom 5 is the book that has the arc of everything. Like the Freedom 5 book is the central arc for the multiverse. And the Sentinels of Freedom
And that's
book
done, yeah.
is the new launch, and so everything starts to renumber.
Yep. So the numbering for Freedom 5 stays the same. It just doesn't continue.
Didn't even know I asked that one. But
yeah, what
all right.
What did you ask?
So like if the Sentinels tactics issues happened like right when Oblivion happened, but it didn't. It came around later.
Much
Some
later,
writer
years
was
later.
like, hey, what if one time something split the timeline again?
Right.
And he just happened to pick, he or she picked that moment.
So it was a they. It was a group of writers, and that group of writers came around later, and they're like, "Look, we've been the Sentinel, the world of Sentinel Comics has been going on. The multiverse event. There's this giant event called the multiverse event that took place over a bunch of stories, and the multiverse event ended with Oblivion. And after the multiverse event was when the big relaunch of the Sentinels of Freedom thing happened, and there was all these different. Man, if you guys have been avoiding spoilers of the podcast, I'm really sorry. I just realized, I'm like, people, if anyone is in this room who's been like, oh, spoiler section, I'll turn it off. Nope,
Well, maybe put that at the beginning of the thing. We'll have Trevor
this whole
put
episode.
it. Yeah,
it's too hard to split
Just
it out.
fix this, Trevor.
But anyway, so with the right, so this new group, it's been going on for the Sentinels comics lines, right? With the relaunch that happens with the Sentinels of Freedom, this has been going on now for years, and it's been years and years and years. And this group of young writers come in, and they're like, "Look, you guys are established. You know what you're doing. This is the way that it works. But now we want to do something with these same characters, the same world, but imagine if things had gone really different with Oblivion." So it starts with a what if. What if in Oblivion things were even worse, and the ramifications of Oblivion are mostly cleared up for the most part, the world impact within several years after Oblivion.
It's a net positive.
Right.
I mean sure, like a few billion people are dead, but whatever. There's a tree now.
You're right. It's better. I'm sorry. You brought me around. But so this is an alternate timeline, and we talk about both the timelines like kind of simultaneously in the episodes, because like those are the two timelines we have to talk about, but they are extremely disconnected.
Right. So this big event wraps up all these separate timelines.
Right.
And then a couple years later, this group of writers goes, but what if?
Right.
Yes.
We have a different timeline.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Thank you for asking that question. That resulted in a lot of really useful information.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I hope that was interesting to you guys and not just annoying to listen to Adam and I argue.
I was annoyed by it, yeah.
I won, so it's fine.
Hey, Christopher and Adam.
Hey.
I'm Christopher Toy. I have a question about the mini nemesis. Are there any mini nemesis that are powerful / important enough to the multiverse that they could be a villain with their own deck, but for whatever reason they just didn't work?
I can think of one, but
use your mental powers to tell me which one. You're hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only really send one message with my mind, and that's that I'm hungry.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah.
Duh.
Jesus.
Right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I mean, I'm fine with saying that.
Zhulong.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
is a big duh.
I don't even think Zhulong is a mini nemesis.
No, Zhulong is a mini nemesis. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, he is, but man.
But he could support his own deck. He is that powerful. It was just not.
He is that powerful, but not that important. There was not a Zhulong story that happened during the multiverse. Definitely that powerful. And that was the thing I was going to say, is that all of the major stories, like the stories are where we get the decks. There are many nemesis that are more powerful than misinformation.
Yeah,
and she has her own deck.
For this plot, for the story we told, Zhulong is a side character here, and he's a repeating environment. And he's very crucial in that respect. But he doesn't. But he's not a primary antagonist.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't have a primary. He doesn't have a primary plan where he goes out and does a thing that impacts the multiverse in a way that the heroes have to fight him specifically. Like the closest we get with that is the Dark Watch Mr. Fixer thing, and that's not a thing that like all hands on deck, all the heroes go fight the thing. It's like no, that's just like the one thing there.
Yep.
So So good question. And yeah, Zhulong is amazingly powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Adam 1, Christopher 1.
Oh yeah, yeah. Perfect. That's the preference. For those of you in Radioland that didn't pick that up, somebody just pointed out that both Adam and I have now won an argument.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
no, we make cooperative games. We're not competing.
Because if there was a competition, Ansel G. Moreau would be the winner.
Hi, Satman.
I was wondering if in the universe where the Sentinel comics are printed, there are other comic book companies, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Are any of the characters we know from Sentinel Comics rip-offs of these other characters?
Oh man, like definitely.
Yeah.
Like there have to be. Like I
and vice versa.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh for sure. Yeah. So like we'll see if that comes up over time. But
Sentinel
like,
Comics is the most successful comic book company in the other in this universe, but they're not the first one.
Right, and as a result of being the most successful, they definitely stole from some indie press things. They're like, oh,
Right.
they're with ours now.
Yeah, but I mean,
and there's also
and
characters they bought from other companies.
Yeah.
because that happens too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I mean, when you boil it down, though, every character is stealing from every other character. Like you can go back to Greek mythology, and they're all
Or
archetypes.
Egyptian.
Oh, I see what you did there. Okay, all right.
We'll have to erase that character from time. What's up?
Hi, Chris and Adam. It's Eli again. After the Oblivion event, is it possible for characters to stay in a universe that wasn't their original one? Like if they crossed over and fought with the main line.
Yeah.
For instance, examples being some of the heroes that show up as rewards in Oblivion. If they show up, fight, and decide, hey, I like this universe, I want to stay, can they stay behind, or are they basically rubber banded back to their original universe?
That is not a decision they can make.
Yeah.
It is a thing that happens. Not just can happen, that definitely happens.
Does happen.
And we're going to be talking about that.
But no one chooses, I want to leave my reality and stay here. Just some things happen that people don't like.
And nobody chooses, oh, hey, I've gone from this reality through a mist gate into another reality to try to complete a mission that's in that other reality. And then, see, here's the deal. The instant that Oblivion is defeated, all of those gates shut permanently. And if you're in another reality when that happens, that's now your home reality. So it sure would be a shame if that happened to somebody.
It sure would be.
It'd be a shame if that happened to somebody that you all love, but
yeah,
not likely, I guess. What's your question? And with you, with the fantastic beard and the mustache, you will be our last question of the day. Thank you so much.
Hi, Christopher and Adam. So my question is kind of more to you and also to the larger fan base, I guess. But so there are a lot of podcasts that kind of follow RPGs and just have full campaigns running through them. I was wondering if you guys had thought at all about creating one or endorsing one, and if not, if maybe Princess Cool and the Cult of Gloom and Omnitron Pi, PI, 3.14, etc., could maybe get together and put that together for us.
That's up to them. If they did that, we would talk about it so much. Okay, this is not true, but I'm going to say it anyway because I like lying.
Okay.
what we're never going to do an RPG podcast where we play a RPG and listen to, and then talk about it on the air and do live streams. But what we will create is when Princess Cool and the Cult of Gloom and Biomancer and Omnitron Pie make their podcast, we will do a companion podcast in which we listen to their podcast and then we do commentary on their podcast. Like I said, that's a lie. Yeah. We're not doing any of that, and we probably are going to do a thing.
We don't have the time to do that, but I will definitely listen to it while I draw.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No, we genuinely want people to do Sentinel Comics RPG podcasts, and when people do that, let us know about it, and we'll talk about them, and we will endorse them, and we will publicize them. But also, rather than doing a podcast about like a live play thing or a whatever you want to call those,
yeah, right.
Let's just do a Twitch stream.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay,
all right.
Sounds good. Thank you guys.
We probably haven't been working on that for a while.
Yeah.
Hello, Christopher and Adam. Came in a little late, so sorry if this has already been asked or something similar. The Sentinels of Earth Prime, is that any impact on the official Sentinels multiverse?
No, it is non-canonical to the world of Sentinel Comics.
That's what I want.
Its own canon.
It's from the world of Green Ornine's line. There's a name for that.
Yeah.
No. That's the name of the game. There's a name for their right for their fake publisher. Earth Prime's the setting. Is it the name of the publisher too? I know this somewhere. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, no, non-canonical, unattached. So
thank you.
Hi, Eric.
Hi. No pressure. Last question.
Thank you for the compliments.
Oh, no, you look great.
You did state that Zulong was indeed a major power. I always thought that he was, and I was a bit surprised in the Temple deck that he only had about 10 HP.
Yeah.
I often fear Anubis more than Zulong.
Sure.
Is that intentional, and are there any other environmental characters that are up in that power level?
So to talk about Zulong, Anubis, to talk about Zulong, I'll talk about Anubis. Anubis is terrifying and powerful. And when people show up in the Tomb of Anubis, Anubis shows up and is awful. And that is why
he judges them.
Right, and that is why Anubis is dangerous in that deck. When heroes show up in the Temple of Zulong will occasionally show up and hey, I'm a dragon, I'm gonna mess with you a bit. Oh, you've hit me a couple of times. Oh, good job. I'm leaving now. And so that 10 hit points isn't, we have slain Zulong. No, you've just convinced him.
The 10 hit points is, I don't have time for you.
Right. He's like, oh, hey, heroes. Oh, you've hit me a few times. How droll. Goodbye. And that represents how much of a threat Zulong is. Not nearly how much powerful. Or not nearly how powerful. Fix that in post.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No. All right. Yeah, by all means. So, with that, let's. Oh man, so on the spot. Let's transition from all these questions to no more asking questions. So at the end, a song not about asking questions, a song about ending the episode. All right. Oh, okay.
That was the look of panic.
Christopher and Adam, we're gonna be here not much longer. Christopher and Adam, this is not my best work of the day. Yeah, that's a great note to end on.
We're not. We're gonna.
You'll play us out.
We're gonna do.
Okay, good.
We're gonna do the main song the canonical way one more time, and everybody's gonna sing along at the very end.
If you say canonical one more time, I'm gonna slap you in the face.
That's right. And I'm gonna play the thingy, and we're gonna have a nice time. Do you want to play the thingy with me? I'll blow into it, and you can both have hands on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
2 jerks, 1 keyboard.
We'll do that at the end.
That's how you hack.
Right. That is how you hack. Break the computers. Okay. So thank you all. I believe we have 5 minutes left, and some of you probably have 5 o'clock things. So we're gonna end it here. Thank you all. Oh my gosh, this went so successfully. Yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause.
It was a blast to be here. I'm not sure it made a great podcast, but it was a blast to be here.
Yeah, I had fun.
Okay, so hold on, Anthony. Yeah. Did you enjoy this?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, because like you've never actually listened to the podcast. You don't even know what your song in the podcast, like how we used your song in the podcast.
Well, I heard it today.
For the first time.
Yes.
Right. And you don't know any of this lore.
No.
Have you actually ever played Sentinels of the Multiverse?
Yes, with you and Dad and Mom, and then we flipped over the card table.
Oh, yeah, no, that was we did not finish that game. No. So, but you enjoyed this anyway.
Yeah, this is fun.
Success. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've got
because of them. Not
yeah,
necessarily
no,
because
yeah.
of you. Not because of you.
This is our thing as well.
Yeah.
So
okay, yes.
Don't tell any of them. But like the thing that we love about the podcast is we get so many really cool questions. And we get like people doing various jokes, but also like really cool, engaging questions that makes us do different creative gymnastics. Like, what is their food restrictions or whatever? Like,
I want to be in on that one.
I love that stuff, and I love the process. Like, okay, genuinely, we haven't thought about this before. Let's nail it down. A lot of things we have right off the top of our head, but a lot of the things we don't. And I love that this community is so engaged and so excited about this that they're asking super cool questions that make us give them all of our secrets, but also make us come up with more things. It's making everything that we do richer.
Yeah.
So thank you all for making Sentinel Comics as great as it is, because you're a big part of that. And that's one of the reasons we're excited about the Sentinel Comics RPG, so you can keep being a continually big part of that. Thank you for listening, and for being here. And for those of you at home, thank you for listening. Everything that we just said still applies to you. You're hugely important to us. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Characters and storylines from the Letters page are properties of Greater Than Games. Sentinels of the Multiverse and other Sentinel Comics games are available on our web store or at friendly local game stores everywhere. If you have questions you'd like Christopher and Adam to answer, submit them to the official form linked in the show notes. You can also follow us on Twitter at SCLettersPage or email us via letterspage@greaterthangames.com. Music used on the show, composed by Jean-Marc Giffen, is used courtesy of Candelabra Games and is available at sentinelsdigital.com or wherever digital music is sold. Additional music was provided courtesy of Anthony Bedell. I'm Trevor Casterline, producer of the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Let them read 'em at you. Piano solo. Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Christopher and Adam. Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Let them read 'em at you.